Absolute dynamite. Oh my goodness.
UMAR AHMED, IFL TV, MCK Global. We're at the beautiful York Hall, joined by Dean Whyte.
Nice night, innit? Good turnout on a Thursday.
Last Matchroom show of the year. I'm sure not the last show for you. You'll be there Saturday, won't you?
Of course. Of course, I'm always working. Yeah, of course.
Fujimuta, that's it.
Whatever his name is, Fudgy's going down in round one, mate.
Fudgy's going down in one.
He's going in one, mate. He said, the boy, I beat you, I knock you out. I was thinking,
was firstly your flight home from Saudi Arabia, everything okay?
no incidents, no alarms, everyone was happy.
Thank God for that, thank God.
Yeah.
Just looking back at it though, like, still a bit weird what happened, a bit crazy.
Listen, absolutely crazy. Listen, I talked to, I've spoken to quite a few people today and over the past few weeks, and it's unsettling to think, an incident of that magnitude going on a plane and you're not aware of, you know what I mean? So sometimes when you're on a plane, if you're sleeping or you're relaxing, watching a movie with your headphones on, you're not aware of certain things going on. So it was quite alarming still, and just to think about it, and people sometimes joke about even worse stuff going on, so it was quite, quite an incident. But listen, I put it past me and we're just trying to get on and that. And,
other than that, it was a very positive experience in Saudi Arabia in terms of your brother. Of course, amazing news.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the news that we were all waiting for, but especially from his side and the family and all the friends around him, it must have been so frustrating.
Listen, obviously I'm sure you've seen Dillian, you spoke to him. He's been a shadow of himself over the last few months. There's a lot of pent-up aggression, and maybe not being able to channel it in terms of, because he couldn't speak, he couldn't have a voice. So it's one of them ones, you know what I mean? So now that he's back, and he can just be himself and talk, I think he's coming out of his show and he just wants to get back in and trying to get out next year and be in the best shape that he can be in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. We all know he was a bit out of shape for the Marius fight, understandably so as well. But what do you make of the situation now, Dean, where was suspended by the WBC and no one else, right? Even though WBC and UCAD have got nothing to do with each other, therefore his mandatory spot's been put back to Feb 2021, and that hasn't changed. What do you make of that situation?
Do you know what? It's obviously a weird one when you look at what's gone on in terms of all of that. WBC have got their position and their standing. Maybe they thought they'd make a stand, I don't know what for, to help their guy, the bronze bomber. But in terms of what they're saying in 2021, I think Dillian was in position number one. I don't know why they changed Tyson Fury to be number one. But I can actually, now that I'm reading the play, I can kind of understand it a little bit more as certain more information circulates. So what I'm hearing is Tyson Fury is fighting in February. I heard, there's going to be a trilogy in September. That's what the rumor is. Yeah. So basically, they made him number one because if he lost, they couldn't put him back and do the trilogy, I'm thinking. So they made him number one because if he loses, well, he's still the number one challenger. There was controversy in the first fight. That may give them the reasoning to make the third fight.
And also, Wilder officially gets rid of his mandatory because Tyson, the deal's already there. So
exactly.
There you go,
so that's that. But then they said, well, Dillian's still number one in the WBC standing, and they have got till February 21 to make that fight happen. So if that is a trilogy and it is September, it will definitely be, it could be December of 2020, but the likelihood is, maybe if it's a hard fight, they might say, we're going to take the rest of the year off and we'll come back in 2021. But that's the last date that they're saying that Dillian can get his opportunity to fight for a title. So,
what do you think Dillian does next year, though? Because say that trilogy happens, right? That means Wilder and Fury are tied up. Joshua, we know he's got two mandatories in Pulev and Usyk, so he's tied up. Where does that leave Dillian?
Boy, do you know what? There's fights out there, and I think, because of what's happened over the last 6 months, I think he wouldn't go amiss to have another couple of fights and kind of fine-tune himself, because those boys have been fighting while he's not been fighting. You know what I mean? So obviously Fury fought and Wilder fought also. So I think it gives him an opportunity to go back into the lab, get his weight down, start getting his sharpness back, and then maybe having a couple of fights in 2020, and then going into 2021 ready and rearing as sharp as possible.
In terms of them fights, do you reckon though, like, slightly more comfortable fights, or the top level guys, your Povetkins, your Michael Hunters, etc.?
Yeah, there is a possibility, but you know, Dillian Whyte, the can man, doesn't do anything by halves, you know what I mean? As much as he said he wants to take an easy fight.
What about Andy Ruiz?
All of those names, the above names you've mentioned, are a possibility. But for me, I'd like to see him maybe fight some easier fights, maybe fight some people who are like in the region of 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". If you're going to fight Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, those guys, they're not the learning fights you need. They're not the fights that's going to help you beat and defeat those kind of guys, if you get my meaning. That's just me. That's my logic of thinking. His logic and his team guys, there's something totally different. They like to fight. They want to get all the big fights and they want all the smoke. The can man, like he said, anyone can get it. You get me?
Okay, well, we wish you a happy Christmas and a New Year.
Absolutely.
Both you and your brother. And
AFL, man. Come on, man.
And see you next year. Actually, I'll see you on Saturday.
I'm sure I'll see you before then.
Fuji Muta.
Fuji's going down in one.